Thank you once again for making Locked On Cougars your first listen of the day. As always, please subscribe, rate, and review. Be a part of the Locked On Cougars family, and get ready. Football season is on its way, everybody. We are in what I call the 5-month marathon that is run at a sprinter's pace for me as a media member. It is a crazy time. My wife is the most understanding person in the world, but the nice part is I am capable of doing everything that I do with you guys because of that. I love what I do. I'm appreciative of all the support we have had. Now it's really time to have fun. It was great to be back out at the Zions Bank practice field. That's what they've titled those now, down there outside the student athlete building in Provo, Utah, for BYU's first practice of the season. Now, as a media corps, we got to watch about 15 minutes of practice. And I have seen, let's be honest, some pretty definitive declarations, it feels like, from certain media members off of that 15-minute observation period. And I will reiterate something that Kalani Sitake said yesterday. What we observed yesterday in practice for BYU is not real football. When you're only wearing helmets, it is not real football. Football has guys in pads wearing gladiator armor, essentially, and getting after it. Until the full pads come on for BYU, I withhold a lot of judgments. There are things I see, and I'll talk about what I observed yesterday momentarily, but take it all with a grain of salt right now. Until next week, when BYU dons shoulder pads and puts the actual football pants on and really gets after it, anything to talk about with offensive line, defensive ends, linebackers who are shining, all that stuff, it's not real football. Now, some of you want to turn off the podcast right now and say, Jake, what are you talking about? But it is what it is. What I observed yesterday is BYU has a true three-way battle at quarterback. McCae Hillstead, Treyson Bourguet, and Bear Bachmeier are absolutely going to duke this thing out. Now, could BYU have one of those guys in mind, and could the first hour plus of the practice feature a guy who got more reps than the others? Sure. But everything that Kalani Sitake said and everything that these three quarterbacks who spoke to us yesterday, if you missed that podcast, I put 2 podcasts out with those media sessions. You can go back and watch it right now. Everything I heard is that all 3 of these guys are not budging or yielding an inch to their opponents, but at the same time, fostering a nice camaraderie among each other as they compete for the starting quarterback position. Bear Bachmeier's got every chance to win this job, and I never thought he didn't have a chance to win the job. I just felt like the learning curve might be a bit too steep for him to really earn the trust of his teammates. But if he does that, and Kalani Sitake, Aaron Roderick have said in the past that usually the team will tell you who the starting quarterback is because they'll start to gravitate or essentially, in no uncertain terms, point at the guy who they believe is going to give the team the best chance to win. And if it's Bear Bachmeier, they will not hesitate in starting this young man. And I've got to say, for an 18-year-old true freshman coming in from Stanford, very polished with the media. Now, that's one facet to it, but showed a live arm. He's all of 6'2", all of 220 plus pounds. I stood right next to him, and he's got every opportunity in this mix. And I can't discount with Treyson Bourguet. He was saying, hey, I want to prove that I can run the football. I can sling the rock. And McCae Hillstead, I asked him the question, how do you combat being 5'10", essentially? He said, you know what? I can't wish to be taller right now. I just can't wave a magic wand and make it happen. But I have fought with it my entire life. I have succeeded with it my entire life in terms of his diminutive stature. And I will say this, anybody who's saying that he's 5'8", it's not true. Many of you who know me in real life know that I'm talking like I am 6 foot flat on a good day, maybe 5'11" and 7/8 if I shrunk overnight. I am right there. If McCae Hillstead is not 5'10", he's 5'9" and 3/4. You know what? Yes, he is a small quarterback in terms of his height, but he is still capable of being the guy for BYU. And I love the fact that these 3 are fully intent on duking this out until the coaches essentially put an end to the QB battle. And some of you, I also asked the question to Kalani Sitake yesterday about, hey, when do you want to have a timeline? I said, we could carry it up to game time, but excuse me, he wants it to be decided before then. Do I believe that they'll make that announcement during fall camp? I have a hard time believing. I said it on yesterday's podcast. For those of you who are everydayers, I said, I think they'll carry it right up to kickoff against Portland State. They very well may, but at the same time, considering it's Portland State as your opener, you could announce it week 3 and not be hurt by it. It's not like you're facing an Alabama in game 1 and you want to hide it from the Crimson Tide or somebody of that ilk in terms of the opponent. Other things I observed yesterday. I like how these wide receivers look physically. Cody Hagen looks bigger and noticeably more confident in terms of playing. come off of a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It does take time, especially for skill position players. We saw him get reps with the first team offense. That's great to see. Jojo Phillips, that dude is looking rocked out right now. He came to BYU like $180. He's listed at 205 pounds, and he looks every bit of that. And at 6'5", he is he's the prototype at wide receiver for BYU. Chase Roberts looks absolutely ready to rock and roll. So I'm not all that concerned about the wide receivers. Now, obviously, they're going to prove it in real game time action in a month's time, but I do think that the work in the offseason is noticeable. Guys like LJ Martin, he looks rocked out. Last year, he packed on, I think it was 20 pounds between his freshman and sophomore campaigns. He's probably kept that 225 pounds on him. He looks noticeably more chiseled this year, kind of, I guess, transformed his body. And he looked lithe. He looked just really, really smooth. He's got to stay healthy, much like many of these guys do. No Hinckley or Potty yesterday. He was not on the roster BYU distributed, but there are rumors or reports out there. He's still seeking a waiver to play this year. He told Center Street Media on a podcast he is planning on coming back to BYU, and we'll see what happens. I'm very interested to see if he gets that waiver and if and when he gets enrolled at BYU. But in the meantime, guys like Jovesa Demuni are getting those reps that he and Pokai Haunga, et cetera, would have gotten because Pokai was not there at practice either. Let's see. Defensively, Keanu Tanavasa is a force. I just talked about the fact that it's not real football, but let's just put it this way. Keanu Tanavasa, even without pads, is unblockable. You put armor on this dude, it's going to be a scary proposition for anybody. I'm telling you, lining up across from him. He is absolutely dominant. And if you want like just one game's evidence of how dominant Keanu Tanavasa and how one single player on a defensive line can essentially wreck a game plan, all you got to do is go back. I know BYU won this game, and watch BYU versus Utah and look for number 57 at defensive tackle. He was a man amongst boys last year against BYU. He is absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to see what he does to some opposing Big 12 offensive lines this season because he looks like he's in much better shape. He looks more comfortable, and the whole goal for BYU is to keep him as healthy as possible. I wouldn't expect to see a ton of him in terms of live reps in fall camp because there's no need. He is absolutely dominant when he's out there on the field, and I love what I'm seeing from that guy, and I think he is poised to have a monster year. And it could be his only year. He told us on this podcast. I played it on Tuesday. It might have been 2 days ago. Nonetheless, he said that this might be his only year in a Cougar uniform. And what that's going to take for him to be able to jump to the NFL is 12, 13 plus games of tape and showing that he can stay healthy and consistently dominate. So far, so good in that regard. And then one other note, the biggest mistake of the day from the media observation window was a bad decision by Treyson Bourguet to throw a pass that Raider Demuni picked off. And it looked like Raider, had he not housed it for a pick six, would have been close to it. Raider Demuni looked really, really good in terms of his read on that play. That's film study, knowing, okay, hey, I got this look. Oh, they're going right here. I'm going to jump this route. And he did it. So bad decision by Treyson Bourguet, kind of the black mark on the quarterbacks of the day, I guess the one black mark, if you're chalking it up that way. But Raider Demuni, really, really good job by him noticing it and obviously jumping that route. I'm telling you, I said it on the short I did shortly after practice wrapped up yesterday. Tanner Wall and Raider Demuni, it could be a pretty nice tandem at safety this year for BYU. And I love what Tommy Prasis, Falatau Satuala, Talon Alfrey, they all bring different things. But I'm telling you, unseating the tandem of Wall and Demuni might be really, really tough for anybody to do unless something crazy happens. So there you go. Some of my observations. But once again, take it all with a grain of salt because, yet again, it is not real football until we get actual pads on.